I, like many people, have grown up feeling pretty disorganized in one, if not many parts of my life. In school, my study notes would be all over the place, and even if I tried to organize them like the A+ students, I would get quickly bored and burnt out. My assumption was that they're successful, so I should follow their habits, and while that's a good approach to have in life, in most situations, it didn't work for me in school. After reading The Organized Mind, as I've spoken about before, I found how to organize things in the best ways for how I do things and with the end in mind. I only use a few apps to stay organized, and I arrange them in a way for them to be useful many years from now. From my life logs organized by date to my business and work folders like YouTube, where I have ideas, processes, tasks, and more organized in their own separate folders. So today I want to go over 3 things that have helped me stay very organized over the years, and a lot of these stem from reading The Organized Mind years ago, but more importantly than that, these are actually things that I've been putting into place and learning what works and what doesn't. There are many reasons to be organized. One of the main ones for me is to keep a clear mind where I can think straight while putting information in the most useful and relevant areas. But also, a fundamental reason of being organized is to save time by being more efficient. Spend some time upfront planning where things should go, then save more time moving forward knowing exactly where to find what you're looking for. Whether that's your favorite memes of 2020, pictures of you and your best friend, or customer contact information for your business, organize exactly as you need it. By putting these next 3 things in place, I got a lot more efficient as well as organized in my life, both personally and in business. I even felt that my memory got a little bit better, but it could be because that I just had a lot less ideas and thoughts racing through my mind at all times, but you'll see what I'm talking about. For me, staying organized starts with your mind rather than your environment. And that's why my first tip is to externalize. I have an older video about this that I'll link down below, but I still want to mention a few things about it. Basically, we have thousands of thoughts per day, and it can get cloudy very quickly if you just let thoughts pile up without dealing with them. Think of externalizing as decluttering your mind. It's simply transferring your thoughts somewhere else than your mind, whether that be a virtual calendar or using a notepad to write down thoughts or ideas. It's something that you've probably done for a long time, but if you do it really structured and really practically, it can get you much further than where you are right now. It's easier to organize your work notes or brainstorm ideas or just enjoy the moment when you don't have a bunch of thoughts crowding your mind that you could deal with first. A quick real-world example of this is if you've ever had a conversation with someone while trying to remember something important at the same time. Like talking to someone while trying to remember that you have to call Jessica back to set up John's surprise party before 4 p.m. And you also shouldn't forget to thank her for all the help. For most people, it would be a bit difficult or at least wearing to try and juggle that thought while having a conversation without seeming distracted. But this can happen a lot if you don't routinely deal with it, and it only gets worse trying to remember multiple things at once. And that's where externalizing comes in. As I've mentioned before, you have to find what works best for you and stick to it. Whether that's writing things down on paper or using apps like I do, like Todoist for to-dos or Apple Notes for notes. A few tips to consider. Use apps that are compatible with your different devices. Less is more. Try to use the smallest amount of apps or notepads that get the job done. Focus on information efficiency, like not writing the same to-do twice. Similar to how I used to write a to-do in an app, but also put the same to-do in my calendar, whereas Todoist connects to your Google Calendar so you can do everything in one place. It might take a couple of weeks to figure out what method of externalizing works best for your lifestyle, like figuring out what things go into which folders, but it's worth it. And speaking of folders, the next tip that I have for you is to make use of subgroups or subfolders. There are many different ways that things can be categorized, and it's important to separate them properly while not having too many subgroups. When it comes to my notes, I have 2 main folders, personal and productive. This is what I've been using for probably 5-6 years or so. Then there are subfolders within both of these, and if necessary, subfolders within some of those. Like my YouTube notes, which goes under the productive category and includes ideas I have, tasks, processes, and more for this channel. And within my YouTube folder, I have a subfolder dedicated just to writing video scripts. Grouping things is a general practice of organizing, like separating your fruits from your vegetables in your fridge. But subgroups can save you even more time when done right, specifically when it comes to your phone or your laptop. And it should always save you time or be useful in some way, not just setting up a subgroup within fruits for the sake of it. Point number 3 is to organize your environment to be as compatible as possible with your lifestyle and your personality. This is something I found out only recently. Your mind is unique and you can't just organize the way everyone else does and expect it to work for you. You have to find out what works best for you, and that involves trying things out. For example, some people can bookmark a thought for later during a conversation, no problem, and others need to write it down ASAP so they don't forget it. Certain people have non-stop ideas popping in their heads when they're not thinking of much, and others don't. Some people need to write things down to understand them best, and others need to speak them aloud, which refers to differing learning styles. When I first organized my life from top to bottom, I saw some really successful people have a to-do for everything in their day, and every minute was accounted for in their calendars. But this didn't work for me. Instead, I leave out easy to remember things in my to-do list, like eating breakfast or showering, and my calendar includes individual and repeating events while leaving everything else blank in order to organize my days by tasks, so I know by the end of the day I want to have these things done, but I have flexibility over when they get done during the day. And it's not over, because we have a bonus tip. Don't organize for the sake of organizing. It might be satisfying to organize all your Smarties by color, but when it comes to doing things like work, try to really critically think as to, is this thing saving me time, or is it providing any other practical benefit? A simple mistake that I made years ago when I was organizing my life top to bottom and I was really motivated was I wanted to put every single thing that I did in a day into my to-do list. Instead, take it slow so you don't burn out and scale it up over time. Also, make sure to figure out how to keep your organizing sustainable. If you find a great way to organize your school notes and you keep changing it up only to end up being disorganized and not being able to read through your notes well, it's counterproductive. Instead, find what works and maintain what's going well while improving what isn't through occasional evaluation sessions. And that's all I have for you today. These tips have taken me from being disorganized and mentally cloudy to living a very organized life that I'm still working on improving. I hope these ideas can help you in some kind of way, and if you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Also, if you want to read the book that helped me get started with organizing my entire life, then I definitely recommend reading the book The Organized Mind by Daniel Levitin. I'm going to link it in the description. Anyways, that's the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got value out of this video. Also, I want to mention, guys, that I have a new camera set up, which is the one I'm using right now, so I hope that there's like an obvious difference between this as well as my previous videos that I've made on this channel, where I use my smartphone, which is right here, using for audio right now. So, or I'm connecting it to the Blue Yeti for audio, not using my smartphone audio. So yeah, anyways, that's the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with this equipment moving forward. Take care for now, and stay practical.
Yeah, your heart is a sun, and it shines as it opens.
Well, your heart is a sun, and it shines as it opens.